Belgium were starting with a short pass from the goal kick in the build-up phase, and Poland were defending in 4-5-1 formation in the first phase. Robert Lewandowski was the sole man who was pressing the centre backs, but he was not pressing the centre backs dedicatedly as he was 3 versus 1 down. Belgium were using double pivots in the first phase. Robert Lewandowski was 3 versus 1 down, and wide backs were easily bypassed Robert Lewandowski. In the middle third, Belgium were using double pivots, which were Tielemans and Witsel. Belgium wingbacks were operating high and wide with KDB and Hazard between the lines, so Poland midfield was operating deep. Belgium pivots had time to receive the ball because of Poland's midfield operating deep. Belgium's wingbacks were providing width by staying high and wide, so Poland's wide midfielders were forced to operate deep to mark the wingbacks. Poland was pressing with sole man Robert Lewandowski in open play, and he was 3 versus 1 down. Robert Lewandowski was unable to press the centre backs well and could not cover the pivots. So when the wide backs had the ball, the centre midfielder was ready to press the wide back. Now a centre midfielder was out of position because he had been committed to wide back. And when pivots were receiving the ball, another center midfielder was committing to the pivots. Then with two center midfielders out of position, space was being created centrally between the lines, and KDB and Hazard were operating between the line and taking advantages. As you can see here, space being created for KDB, wingbacks were free on the channel after the second line was bypassed as Poland were defending in their back four. Belgium were outnumbering Poland in the midfield. Poland's second line was of 5 players. Belgium wingbacks were wide, so the wingbacks were dragging the Poland's 2 wide midfielders. Now Poland midfield was of 3 players. Belgium were using double pivots. KDB and Hazard were dropping in midfield, so Poland were getting outnumbered in midfield. Poland were 3 versus 1 down in midfield in front of Belgium midfield, and Belgium had a number advantage in midfield. Poland's midfield was central and narrow in the final third, so Tielemans and Witsel could easily find wingbacks. Wingbacks were free on the channel with midfield being central, and most of the attacks were coming from wide zones. Belgium were changing their formation in final third. Belgium were using a single pivot in final third, which was Witsel, and Tielemans was moving between the lines. KDB and Hazard were moving in the half space zone because of Tielemans moving between the lines. Both were dropping in the deep half space zone and forming outlet in final third. Poland's midfield was deep, so KDB and Hazard could be easily accessed. Because Poland were defending narrow back four, space was being created for the wingbacks on the channel. So when wingbacks had the ball, Poland wide midfielders were joining the defense, and that depend on which side the ball on, and Poland were defending in back 5.